Let's kick us off with Pool A. I'm wearing my All Blacks jersey. First game, Saturday, September 9th, France versus New Zealand. Hughesy, what we'll do is you take us through the whole pool and your picks first, and then I'll go through my picks.
Alrighty, so game one, France versus New Zealand. I have got New Zealand winning this game. Right? I mean, how could I? How could I not? How could I? I think
Yes.
it'll be a really close game, but I trust New Zealand more than I trust France, both in rugby and in politics. So, historically speaking, New Zealand more reliable than France. So I'm going with the All Blacks. It's hard to pick against the All Blacks in a World Cup in the pool stages. As good as France are, I think New Zealand can beat them. I think New Zealand's got a hell of a squad, and I just trust what they bring to the table more than what I trust France brings to the table.
Excellent.
So that's game one. Game two is Italy versus Namibia. I've got Italy in this one. I don't think that's a shocking call at all. I think Namibia's probably the bottom team in this pool. I don't think that they're going to win a game. If they do, it'll be against Uruguay. Speaking of which, our next game is France versus Uruguay. I got France taking this one. I would say it's probably going to be a lot of France's bench players starting in this one after a pretty physical game against the All Blacks. And the All Blacks then go and play Namibia. I've got the All Blacks taking this one. Again, probably see a lot of All Blacks resting in this one. A lot of bench players coming in after, again, what I think will be a physical confrontation with the French. Italy versus Uruguay. I think this will be a really interesting match. I think this will be an Italian victory, but Uruguay will get a bonus point in this one. I think Uruguay will be within 7 points of Italy. Italy could, if the Italy we know can shows up for this game, they should run rings around Uruguay. However, I don't fully trust Italy. We thought they had a lot of potential in Six Nations this year. They disappointed a little bit in some of their games, but we thought they would show up a bit more. They're very hot and cold, so I'm still sticking with Italy as my pick, but I think Uruguay will do better than expected in this game. France versus Namibia. France, I don't think we need to talk too much about that one. Namibia have had some heroics in the Rugby World Cup before, where they've had some victories and had some close games, but I still think France will take this one. Uruguay versus Namibia. I've got Uruguay in this one. And again, though, I think it'll be a close game. Namibia is the minnow of this pool, but Uruguay's not too far above them. New Zealand versus Italy. This will be a spicy matchup. I think Italy will really turn it on for the All Blacks. But and this is sort of their first. They start out with a favourable first two games, but then their last two games for Italy become infinitely harder. I think New Zealand will take this one. They're just a bit classier than the Italians are at rugby, not with cooking. New Zealand versus Uruguay. New Zealand gets a really nice break going into the quarterfinals, where they can rest a lot of their starters against Uruguay. And they might be. I think they won't mind even if they lose this game, and then thus they're second in their pool. I think their quarterfinals matchup is going to be difficult either way. I don't think they particularly mind if they come first or second in this pool. Even though they've beaten France, France might get, they might go through on bonus points. There's a whole lot of mathematics that can come through here. So I think New Zealand will rest a lot of players for Uruguay, and they won't mind if they drop this game by playing a lot of their reserves. That being said, I don't think they will drop this game. I'm still picking New Zealand, but I think they'll definitely be looking to the next week when they come to this game. Then France versus Italy. I think France they'll be advancing through to the next round for sure. I think though that they will, again similar to New Zealand, probably rest a lot of players for this one. This is a potential for a trap game here, and if Italy surprise the French in this game, France could go out before the quarterfinals, which I believe is something you predicted as your spicy pick in our last podcast. But I think it is going to be France that take this one, and it will be. But it will be. I think Italy will shock them in terms of how close this game will be.
Alrighty, so you've got New Zealand top in the pool, France second.
My pool standings are New Zealand, France, Italy, Uruguay, Namibia.
Nice. Okay, so I will start with mine. New Zealand versus France this Saturday. New Zealand yet to lose a pool game in Rugby World Cup history. Never lost a pool game. They ain't starting against the French, so we get up over the French. But again, it's going to be a tight game, and this is. If France are to win this game, my predictions then go out the door because it doesn't really matter what I say for the rest. Because if you'd listened to the last podcast, you'll know why. Italy versus Namibia, I like what you said. Italy gets up over Namibia. France versus Uruguay. France beat Uruguay. I think Uruguay are a team. They famous win against Fiji at the last World Cup. I think they're a team that could surprise, like you've said, I think, and even against the All Blacks. I don't think they touch the All Blacks, but I think definitely Italy, definitely even France. I think, no, not even France. I shouldn't say France. That's disrespectful. But if I'm gonna write them off against the All Blacks, I probably have to write them off against France. But definitely Italy. You could have a shot there. What game did I just say about? Was
France
that
and Uruguay? So now you're on to New Zealand and Namibia.
New Zealand and Namibia. New Zealand win that. Then Italy, Uruguay. We were just talking about that. I still think Italy are a class above at the moment, the way they're playing. Yep. France versus Namibia. France beat Namibia. So we're rocking and rolling. Uruguay versus Namibia. Uruguay beats Namibia. I think they're a class above Namibia. As we've just said, Italy is a class above Uruguay. I think Uruguay is a class above Namibia. New Zealand beat Italy. I do think this is a bit closer. After the New Zealand win against the French, like you said, I think New Zealand I still think we see a top New Zealand team. I just think they're more worried about how they're playing rather than the result. So I think this one will be closer. New Zealand then have to back it up 7 days later against Uruguay. And I would say, like you said, I don't think they're going to...
7 days. 6 days later.
6 days later. Like you said, I don't think Uruguay will touch New Zealand, but if the line, if you're a betting man, I would be looking at Uruguay by the line because I don't think it'll be as big a win as many think. Then we get to our final game, which is where the cookie's ready to crumble because the pressure's now on France. France and Italy both have one loss up until this point. Let's say Italy's done the unthinkable and managed to pick up a bonus point against the All Blacks. We're now talking about winner of this game advances. France lose, they go home. Now, the Italians pushed the French the last time they played in the Six Nations. I think it was like 21-26. Check their own results, but I think it was something like that.
I'm checking the results now. I'll get this to you now and back up what you're saying. You keep going though.
And then I'm pretty sure the last time Italy played in France, I don't know if that game was in France. I think it may have been in Italy. It was another close game. The Italians, to me, they're in and around the French's number, and they're waiting for the perfect time to strike. I think they strike on Saturday, October 7th, people, or it's local time, October 6th. Have it penciled in your calendar to watch Italy knock France out of the Rugby World Cup 2023.
All right. So, result, last time Italy played France in the Six Nations, round 1, it was 29-24 France.
That was in France, was that correct?
That was... Have a look here. I'm just pulling up the stats. No, that was in Italy, I believe.
Okay. And then I want to know when the last time Italy and France played each other in France, what the result was.
Yeah.
But
look, I have stats. I'm not that good with stats.
You know what? I'll do it myself. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to bring this up because I think it was close again. I have a funny feeling that Italy pushed France in France the last time they played in France. But I'm gonna see. So that was at home. Let's go 2022.
Okay, here we go. History of rugby union matches between Italy and France.
And I might be talking out my ass, but no, they didn't. 37-10.
France, Saint-Denis, 37-10.
So I'm pulling this off the last game. All right, I'm pulling it off the last game. The last time they played, what was it, a 5-point difference?
Yep.
Italy can do this. The way they've warmed up, the way they've prepared for this World Cup, the big win they just had over Japan. I look at this Italian team and I go, they can do this and they're going to do it. See you later, France. Knocked out at their own World Cup. Pull A. Just like that, wrapped up.